Have you ever had 5 straight losing trades? 10 straight losing trades? Have you ever been in a situation where you wonder whether you're ever going to win again? You ever going to make money again? Is everything you do broken? Will it ever work again? Or are you done?
Damn, Peter, why you gotta scare all of us like that? This isn't supposed to be like a horror channel, it's supposed to be funny. Guess I'm not sleeping tonight, but drawdowns aren't funny, are they? They suck. And they absolutely do get scary because of the emotions and thoughts that come with them, which are exactly like Peter's describing. And by the way, if you don't know who that is in the video, it's Peter L. Brandt, or PLB for short. And he is a legend. He's been a futures and FX trader for the last 42 years. And over those years, he's had some crazy, consistent, amazing returns. And he's been through it all, so he has a ton of wisdom. So one of my favorite guys to listen to. And as you can see, he probably tells some very scary stories around the campfire with that delivery. So in this video, we're gonna talk all about drawdowns and how to deal with them. And dealing with drawdowns is extremely important to be successful in the market. But first off, what exactly is a drawdown?
My period. And a drawdown, of course, is that time in which you start losing money and you measure a drawdown from the peak equity you have to the valley equity you have before you go up and make a new peak, and that's your drawdown.
The thing about drawdowns is that they're inevitable, regardless of your strategy. Drawdowns are pretty much a statistical fact in the market. There's no type of Superman strategy that wins all the time, and anyone who tells you any different is probably trying to take your money. You need to run away from those people as fast as you can. See, markets work in cycles, and your strategy will react differently depending on what market cycle we're in. So one example is the difference between momentum and value. In some types of markets, value works really well. In other types of markets, momentum works really well. So usually value works pretty well after we've had a bear market. That's where you find really great deals that are gonna get you huge returns over time. But in a late stage market like the one we're in right now, value might lose. In this type of market, momentum works really well. But the vice versa is true too, where momentum might not work as well as value right after a bear market. So different strategy works well at different times. And in the times it's not working well is when you're gonna get a drawdown. And everyone has to deal with drawdowns, even the best traders, PLB included.
I've had severe drawdowns as bad as 37%. Luckily, I haven't had one of those lately. The worst drawdown I had, though, was in duration, not necessarily in magnitude. People think that drawdowns are losing money. Sometimes drawdowns are just the agony of not being able to make anything and just struggling for a long period of time.
So PLB makes a good point here where there's 2 ways to look at the drawdown. You could look at the depth of it and how steep it is, and you can also look at the length. And when it comes to drawdowns, size does matter. So if you're lucky, your drawdown will be short in length. Even if it's steep, if it rockets back real fast, that's much easier than the alternative. And the alternative is a long-term drawdown. I'm talking months at a time or even years. And that might sound crazy, but it happens. You could actually be in a drawdown for that long. And that's when it really starts screwing with your head. At that point, you just get a rush of emotions and thoughts, and you just completely lose faith in your strategy. You're like, it hasn't been working for 12 months, like it must be broken. Not only do you start questioning your strategy, you start questioning everything in life. You'll be sitting in a car, putting on your seatbelt and thinking, does this seatbelt even work? I've never been in a crash. Will this actually protect me? I've never seen it happen. Or you'll be thinking about the space program, like, did we actually land on the moon for real? And then you'll start thinking like, are my parents even my real parents? Am I adopted? It screws with your mind so much, and that's when you start to break your rules because you don't trust your strategy anymore. And then by breaking your rules, you end up digging yourself into an even deeper hole. So what do you do then? How do you avoid screwing yourself over even more in these terrible drawdowns? Well, there's a few things that I do. First thing I do is review my system. Now, this is why I always talk about how important it is to have a back-tested system. It's for these drawdown periods. Because if you have a system and it's back-tested, then you know what its cycles are like. You have an idea of how steep the drawdowns can get and how long they usually last. I mean, it's not going to be perfect because the market is going to be different than it was in the past, but it does give you a sort of blueprint so you're not sitting there guessing what's going to happen. So whenever I'm in a drawdown, I like to go back to my notes and review how the strategy is supposed to play out. I need to remind myself how the cycles work, and I basically tell myself, okay, this is normal. This is a part of markets. This is how my cycle for my strategy plays out. And I also remind myself myself that I need to be able to take the good with the bad, because over time I should have the returns that I want. And the problem is, if you don't have a back-tested system and you're more discretionary, well then you don't really know what's gonna happen. You don't have really any hard numbers to look at. So that's when you start worrying and you get stressed and you start thinking, should I change the rules of my strategy? And then that leads you down a rabbit hole of hurting yourself more and more. So it's tough, but I mean, there are very successful discretionary traders. But for me personally, I wouldn't be able to do it. So the second thing I do during a drawdown is just get away from the market. I mean, sitting there and staring at your screen and your account balance is not helping anything. The more time you spend staring at it and stressing about it, the more likely you are to fall off the deep end. You're gonna be more and more tempted to break your rules. But if you know about your cycle and it's back tested, then you know in the end you should come out okay. So that should give you the permission you need to just like take off. Stop staring at the market. I feel like traders forget sometimes that there's more to life than markets. For example, you have friends, or if you don't have friends, maybe you could just get a hobby. Maybe you wanna do some woodworking. Now, I personally don't like woodworking. I don't know why people do, but you might like it. Or maybe you wanna open up a lemonade stand in your neighborhood. Or even better, you can adopt a child and open up a lemonade stand with him. That'll keep you busy. But just do anything you need to keep yourself away from the markets. Don't stress yourself out more than you have to. So let me know in the comments, what are your drawdown strategies? How do you survive that pain? I would love to hear about them down below. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit that bell for notifications of new videos. We make about 3 a week, all market related. So subscribe and I'll see you in the next video. Stay fallible out there. Bye.